Hollywood has always been a land of glittering stars and untold riches, but behind the glamour and fame lies a darker story. Over the years, several stars have seen their lives and careers unravel, sometimes spectacularly, often due to their own choices or the pressures of an unforgiving industry. From turbulent relationships and wild lifestyles to personal demons, these iconic stars of old Hollywood remind us that even the brightest stars can crash and burn. 1. Elizabeth Taylor is often remembered for her stunning beauty, impressive acting talent, and her tumultuous personal life. She married 8 times, with her relationships often grabbing as many headlines as her career. Her first marriage to hotel heir Conrad Hilton was marred by gambling and abusive behavior. Her second marriage to actor Michael Wilding was more stable, but her third, to producer Mike Todd, ended tragically when Todd died in a plane crash. Perhaps the most infamous of her marriages was to actor Richard Burton, a volatile love affair that spanned 2 marriages and 2 messy divorces. Despite her addictive relationships with both men and prescription drugs, Elizabeth Taylor managed to continue acting and earned 2 Academy Awards, becoming one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses. But her personal life, filled with heartbreak and scandals, overshadowed her work at times, and even as her health declined, she continued to live a high-profile life, often leading to financial instability.
And good morning, everyone. For those of you that are joining us on Good Morning America and other programs, we're interrupting it right now because we have a special report here with David Muir. I'm Robin Roberts, and unfortunately we have just confirmed that Elizabeth Taylor has died. She died in the early hours this morning from congestive heart failure.
She was 79 years old. We know this morning that her 4 children were by her side. She survived, of course, by 10 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. They were all around their mother, and we want to turn now to Sharon Alfonsi, who looks back at Elizabeth Taylor's life.
2. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth, known for her sultry performances in films like Gilda, was once the darling of Hollywood. However, her personal life was a storm of alcoholism, tumultuous marriages, and struggles with mental illness. Hayworth's 4 marriages, including to Hollywood mogul Orson Welles, were marked by bitter feuds and public scandals. But her worst struggle came later in life when she was diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's disease. Despite her brilliance on screen, her memory faded, and by the time she reached her 50s, she couldn't even remember her lines. Hayworth's descent into dementia and the challenges it brought caused her career to collapse, leaving her to live in obscurity until her death. What could have been a life full of joy and continued work instead became a tragic tale of a star's fall from grace.
You were not quite 25 when you did that film we've just seen with Fred Astaire, and that was your 35th film, so by the age of 20...
Was it? No wonder I'm tired.
What does a sex goddess really mean?
She must be sexy, I don't know.
3. George Reeves, best known for portraying Superman in the 1950s TV series Adventures of Superman, was another star whose career and life took a tragic turn. Before becoming the iconic superhero, Reeves had a promising career in Hollywood, with appearances in major films and a charming on-screen persona. However, his personal life was much more complicated, especially after he became involved with Toni Mannix, the wife of powerful MGM executive Eddie Mannix. When Reeves left Mannix for a more volatile relationship with Leonore Lemon, the drama surrounding him escalated. His mysterious death in 1959, which was ruled a suicide, has been the subject of numerous investigations and theories. With rumors of mob ties and infidelity swirling, Reeves' tragic death remained unresolved, casting a dark shadow over the legacy of the man who once wore the cape of Superman.
It was June 16, 1959, and Chasen's was the hot spot in town. As always, the place was packed with showbiz bigwigs. Spirits were high, liquor was flowing. George Reeves was there with his fiancée, the tempestuous party girl, Lenore Lemon. Just hours later, the Man of Steel was found dead, naked, and alone in his bedroom.
4. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe's life has been immortalized in film and lore, but behind the glitz and glamour was a woman deeply affected by mental illness, substance abuse, and broken relationships. Her infamous affairs with both John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy added to her allure, but also caused immense emotional distress. Monroe's troubled relationship with fame, paired with the deep psychological issues she struggled with, led her to a downward spiral of substance abuse and self-destructive behavior. Her death in 1962, widely believed to be a suicide, has been the subject of countless conspiracy theories. Monroe's tragic life has left an indelible mark on Hollywood history, with her story often serving as a cautionary tale of the pressures that come with fame and the instability that can result from living in the public eye.
One of the most famous stars in Hollywood history is dead at 36. Marilyn Monroe was found dead in bed under circumstances that were in tragic contrast to her glamorous career as a comic talent. On the surface, she seemed to have such a zest for life. Her international appeal took her from command appearances to the other side of the world and entertainment for Korean GIs.
5. Jean Tierney was the epitome of 1940s Hollywood beauty, known for her roles in Laura and The Razor's Edge, but her off-screen life was filled with personal pain. She was romantically involved with some of the most powerful men of the time, including John F. Kennedy and Howard Hughes, but it was her battle with bipolar disorder that led to her downfall. Her mental health issues led to a series of public breakdowns, including a failed escape attempt from a psychiatric hospital after enduring over 20 shock treatments. After her mental health deteriorated further, she became a shadow of the glamorous woman she once was, leaving her career in tatters. She never fully recovered, and though she appeared in a few films in the 1960s and 70s, her fame had already waned. 6. Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper was known as one of Hollywood's most charming leading men, a staple of films like High Noon and Sergeant York. However, behind his iconic roles, Cooper's personal life was one marked by a relentless pursuit of women. His reputation as a womanizer was legendary, with rumors swirling around his many affairs, including with co-stars Marlene Dietrich and Lupe Velez. Cooper's infamous affair with Patricia Neal, a much younger co-star, led to him pressuring her to have an abortion, a decision that would forever haunt him. His public persona as a virtuous hero on screen was in stark contrast to his personal life, which included multiple extramarital affairs and relationships. The scandal and his emotional immaturity caught up with him as his reputation soured, and by the end of his career, Cooper's personal life overshadowed his once glorious legacy. 7. Barbara LaMarr. Barbara LaMarr's career in Hollywood was brief but filled with excess. Known as the girl who was too beautiful, LaMarr was a wild child who married multiple times and had a turbulent career marked by scandals. From a young age, she was arrested for performing burlesque at 14 and became famous for her party girl antics. Her love life was a mess, with 5 marriages before her tragic death at just 29 years old from tuberculosis, likely brought on by her heroin addiction. LaMarr's life was a whirlwind of reckless decisions and unbridled ambition, and by the time she died, her promising career had already unraveled. Her story remains one of Hollywood's most tragic tales of a starlet who burned out too soon. These stars, though beloved by audiences in their prime, each faced their own personal struggles that led to their downfall in some way. Whether it was addiction, mental health issues, or scandals, their lives were far more complicated than the public ever saw, making their stories not just about their fame, but about the dark side of Hollywood's glittering allure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content from us.